Welcome to the Jellis rental market update for spring 2018. My name's Sam Noakes and I'm from our Armidale, Richmond and South Yarra offices. Well, winter's been a very interesting market. Normally some of the quieter months for the rental year, it's really bucked the trend this year with more properties in market than we would have expected. And that's certainly having a significant impact on the time it's taking to lease out homes as well. Generally, we'd see these last few months as being a little quieter, with less stock in market and some moderate tenant activity. But what we've seen is far more properties in market, about 50% more than what we estimated over all 3 months for winter up to the start of this quarter, and it's certainly continuing into spring. The motivators that we see for that is less properties are leaving the market to become sold properties, as is traditional in Melbourne during the spring. And we're also noticing that investor stock is the primary properties that aren't leaving. So all that stock that's generally leaving the market at this time is staying there, and we're also seeing the introduction of all of the normal stock that would be coming up as well. What that's meaning is that the competitive edge that owners had in the previous months is now starting to taper off as we start to see a more competitive landscape for landlords in the rental market here in inner Melbourne. What we're suggesting to owners at this point is when their tenants are coming up to renew their leases, and certainly coming up towards the end, it's really important for landlords to consider keeping those tenants possibly a little bit more consideration than they may have given in years past. The reason for that is we wouldn't advise our landlords to come to market into this competitive environment that we're seeing if it's not necessary. Think about different lease terms. We don't necessarily need to always consider a 6 or a 12-month lease. We can consider 5, 3, 15, lots of different terms that we can use to put tenancies around to a good time of the year to benefit you as the landlord in the long run when the tenancy ends up coming up to end. For more information on this, speak with your Jellis property manager who'll be able to advise you on the best term for your tenancy. With the weather starting to hot up, it's time that we talk to you about air conditioning again. And I know we bring this topic up every year, but it's so important to consider having your air conditioning serviced now rather than waiting until the hot months really kick in. This is because it can be really difficult to get an aircon technician to attend the property when there's a breakdown. And that can mean not only does the unit become more damaged, cost more to repair, but also you might have costs associated with the tenant as well. Getting to issues early can mean a lesser cost when you're just having a service rather than having to have a unit repaired or replaced after a breakdown. So to get that booked in, again, speak with your Jellis property manager and they'll be able to make the arrangements for you. As you're no doubt aware, the Victorian government has recently passed the Residential Tenancies Amendment Bill. These are the most sweeping changes we've seen in Victorian renting law since 1997, and is certainly reflective of the shift in tenancy behaviour that we've seen over those last 2 decades. With more people renting and for longer, the Victorian government wanted to provide a set of legislation that supported tenants being in homes for longer and made them feel comfortable. The issue there is that some landlords feel that this restricts their rights as landlords, and even the change in name is reflective of that from landlord to residential rental provider. Some of the changes that you might have heard of, and certainly the hot topics, is the ability for tenants to make alterations to the property without the landlord's consent, to have pets in the property without having to first ask the landlord, as well as the removal of the 120-day notice, which allowed landlords to issue a notice to vacate when they felt the tenancy wasn't going well, but there wasn't necessarily a screaming issue. These and many more changes will significantly alter the landscape for both landlords and tenants here in Victoria. Whilst we aren't aware of all of the changes because the regulations aren't yet written, it's important to know that Jellis is committed to being experts in this new piece of legislation by the time it rolls out, expected in early 2020. Our job is to make sure that we are the trusted advisor for our landlords and we understand how the new marketplace is going to work and what rights and duties each party has. For more information and to discuss this further, please contact either myself or your Jellis property manager. We'd love to have a chat with you about it. That's all from us. We look forward to speaking with you again later in the year.